Sorry, my lighting hasn't come in yet. I know it's dark. You know my expression. You don't know the expression? The expression is no flash, no black guy, you know. What can I tell you? Welcome to Ivan is Ivan. It's been an explosive one, right? So we've had Queen Bee herself, Candace, has dropped some major bombs on TPUSA and joined by the firing of some employees there. And we'll get into that in a little bit. Um, Erica asked for a speedy trial. I don't know if that was this week or last week. And apparently in Utah, you can do that. I thought at one point that Brant Barron said you couldn't do that, but that may not be true in Utah. The Tyler's trial is still going on. There was a briefing, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, about the 18-year-old daughter whose father is one of the prosecutors. And I know that occurred. And I always say it backwards. So it's Brandy and Billy were there live at this hearing. I guess it was a hearing, and did some really deep investigative work. Apparently, a lot of what we have been told about what or how Tyler turned himself in or how that went down was not really true, according to some of the people that they spoke with in his direct family. So I know the ladies will be talking about this a little bit more this coming week, but that was fantastic reporting that they did live from the courtroom in the parking lot, leaving their laptop, camera, and microphones live while they went to interview others. It was crazy. Those ladies are after it, and they are going to be huge eventually. I guarantee it. The interesting thing that I really didn't know that there was a connection between Charlie and Jeffrey. It appears that back in 2025, Kirk openly stated on his podcast that he wanted, or his show, that he wanted all of the files to be wide open. He didn't want anything to be put behind, and he actually pushed for Trump to do that. I don't know how well that was received. And he also brought on Tucker Carlson, and they had a conversation about that and how possibly there was involvement with blackmailing of powerful Americans and possibly on behalf of foreign entities like SADMU or Philadelphia. So that was I found that very interesting as well. And I think you can go back and look at some of the historical podcasts that Charlie had on his show pertaining to that. TPUSA Student Action Summit in July of 2025, Kirk polled the crowd. He asked them a straight up question, and half of the crowd raised their hand, half of the audience raised their hand, agreeing that Epstein was part of a Philadelphia agency, and it drew quite a bit of applause. So that was quite interesting. I found that I didn't know about that. This is all as per a Newsweek article. Also, during that time, Megyn Kelly was there as well and joined him on stage and criticized the U.S. attorney as a Pam Bondi as providing very fishy answers, fishy answers pertaining to Epstein's actions, Jeffrey's actions, as as a possible foreign agent. Okay, that we can say that. There were theories that Jeffrey was heavily involved with Philadelphia and was influencing U.S. policies, which Kirk seems like he was seriously red pilled at that moment, right? The interesting part was further on down during that year, Kirk repeatedly pushed for full transparency of the FBI files, arguing that it needed to be exposed because he believed that it was a lot of corruption for the billionaire class. Now, I found this very interesting. And again, this is all as per Newsweek, right? And that's not alleged. That's per Newsweek. Then apparently in July of 2025, after a weekend of Jeffrey talks at TPUSA, Kirk abruptly declared on his show that he was done talking about Epstein and he was going to trust his friends in the administration. He name dropped Bongino, Bondi, and said that the ball was in their court. And I think a lot of you all might remember this. And the thought is that this occurred after he received a call from Mr. Trump. Now, whether that part is true or not, I don't know, but that is speculation. And again, that is fully alleged, right? So, I think almost everyone now has seen the video from Aubrey, and I'm going to masticate her name, and that's fine. That's not really fine because I wouldn't want anybody to masticate mine, but Lamschwin, who was a TPU PR worker for about 4 years. Now, the question is, who did she really work for? Because it looks like she worked for Andrew Covett, but she called Charlie her CEO. So there's some gray areas there, but I kind of understand where she's getting from, where she's coming from, because that's how she looked at it, right? But if she was a contractor, I don't really know. And apparently she was terminated due to a Uber driver stating that he had been told by her to some other executives at the or within the Charlie Kirk or within TPUSA that the organization itself was going quote downhill, and quote nobody liked Erica unquote. So that was that narrative of how they terminated her. We all heard that on Candace, and boy did she drop it a lot better than I just did. It was phenomenal. So I think it continues. I think the turmoil at TPUSA continues, and it doesn't really look good for them. It hasn't looked good for them in a while. The official story is that Erica is trying to consolidate power amidst donor pressure and a lot of little shady dealings that are going on. I still kind of wonder where that Doge effort is. We haven't seen that. It's funny when somebody asks for something, it's not his last wish, but it was stated, and it's sad that it never occurred. It just is, and I don't know why. Well, it's not for me to know why, but you would think that something that somebody is no longer. I mean, he is, or he was. He still is, because that show was called the Charlie Kirk Show. The face of TPUSA, right? And they're raising more money than they ever have before in his name, and God rest his soul. I really feel that Candace is doing the right thing for him, and with him in mind and in her heart. I honestly believe that. I think a lot of this was or is focused on Erica because she's being caught in so many untruths. And she's blaming a lot of other people for it too. Now, I don't know how Mikey McCoy's wife is involved with this, with bad advice or things of that nature. Possibly, allegedly, a French businessman by the name of Pierre Faucon. How do you like that accent, right? Was linked to scandals in the past, supposedly, that might intersect with Kurt's unaliving due to financial fraud. And I think Charlie might have been either smelling this or he knew about it, but he wanted to go about it very gingerly. He didn't want to point the finger at people directly, but have them gingerly removed, if you get my drift there, right? So that's at least my interpretation of it. That's how, if I found out somebody that I trusted was doing, that's how I would do it, or how I would go about it. I believe getting texts. Candace has gone through and dropped bombs pertaining to the leadership and certain cover-ups that they're doing, and how the whole things went down. Erica being at the airport an hour before Andrew, and on their private jets, and there's a lot of people involved putting all this together, and whether or not it was a deep state or sad Mose, figure that out. Be a little dyslexic and figure out where I'm going there. Was linked to this unaliving, right? And they are influencing Erica and really utilizing her as a puppet um, for TPUSA and moreover Philadelphia, because we have orphan children, and that seems to be part of it. Now, here's my deal, and I heard somebody say this earlier. I'm not sure who. I think it was Ian. If anybody messes with a child, right, in the sake of for a billionaire, for a country, they need to, in my opinion, it needs to be in public. There needs to be an axe and their goods on a stone and chopped in public. Okay, that would stop everything. If it doesn't stop it, it will damn sure make a point. And that's how I honestly feel about that. I have two daughters, I have two sons. Hey, no, I don't care how old they are. One's married. I'll. Bottom line here is that there is a lot of executives that are still making a great deal of money. Tyler Boyer, Andrew Covett, and you can pray for him as much as you want, Baron. That boy is guilty, and he's not going to repent. He is money hungry, I think, like the rest of them are. Allegedly, that's no alleged. That's just straight up. And I think there are ties in to Jeffrey as far as that is concerned. All right, let's move forward. In short, TPUSA is just a mess ever since Charlie passed, and I pray for them. I do, because I don't think it's going to get any better, and the direction that it's gone is just awful, and it's shameful that this is allowing to be continued once we have identified all of these things. Wolves of finance and Danks have just gone through and identified so many, just, and so many others have as well, but so many misfilings and so much money that is being exchanged, billions of dollars. And I think that there is the head of Philadelphia who has that little tiny, what's that little gun that's called that really doesn't shoot bullets? It's 177 calibers. Yeah, it's a BB gun. I think we need to stop allowing influence from other countries to influence what America does. This is America. I digress. So much for TPUSA, and let's move on to something a little bit more cheerful, shall we? Man, massive drop of files. What am I calling him? Oh yes, Jeffrey files. Jeffrey files. In the massive transparency that there's nothing else to see here, Miss Bondi dropped, and apparently there are 3 million pages of nothing else to see, 2,000 videos, and 180 photographs. Now I've seen some of the videos, and I've read some of the excerpts. It's awful, and I don't know why people aren't being. I mean, murders occurred, just straight up. It says it in the document. I don't understand how this is not a thing. It's so obvious to me that, I guess, excuse me, when you reach a certain point of wealth, you can get away with a lot. And maybe you can. Yeah, I don't know how wealthy Diddy was, and I really don't listen to that kind of music, but it's stupid. What happened to America and American values? I don't know how long this has been going on, but I'm a boomer, and this should not be occurring. In my heart, they all need to go, because I know I don't, left, right, middle, doesn't matter. See ya. Get that. And no, nobody's doing anything for us. It's all for the love of money. And if you remember The Apprentice and that lead-in song, I digress. So apparently, Mr. Jeffrey has been playing video games. So they told me. I don't play video games. I wouldn't know anything about this, but there is at least one photo that I've seen that came from Philadelphia that shows a gentleman with a white beard and white hair that supposedly is Mr. Jeffrey. I don't know if this is true or not. It looks like the account that he had somehow is linked to this, and from what I understand, he plays Fortnite very well. I don't really know what the scores mean, but whoever has this account that was associated with him uh, is a is ranked 17 or has a 17. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know. I don't even think I've seen the game, much less played it. So, but this is the latest conspiracy. But and I believe it because there was a lot of movement of people the night before or the week before his unaliving. It's funny how cameras don't work at certain times in certain places. It's very, very unusual that we still rely on VCR videotape at at a high visibility location. What I mean, I got 16 cameras and it's all on a hard disk. Matter of fact, it's on multiple. So I don't understand why they would use a tape. I can't really fathom that, but okay, if that's what they state, that's fine. Um, here's a bomb that dropped during Ian's live that we haven't seen Ian in a while. We know he has moved studios. He is also suffering the flu like Coach, but during his live, uh, while I was rebuilding my studio, what was I thinking? Some ordinary gamers dropped a video that some of the files, the Jeffrey files, could be. Thank you very much. May I have another? We must be over the target if I'm getting noises like that. I have no idea why that made that noise. Some of the Jeffrey files could be uncovered. So some of the redactions could be unredacted. And again, pure speculation, allegedly, but you can go out to see some ordinary gamers or Mudamar. Very smart guy, extremely smart. And this is something that he announced. Okay, so that's very, very interesting. I don't know if I'm going to talk about what is going on with surveillance. My last video, I briefly talked about geofencing and super feeds, and TPUSA wants to go into every school, and if they do, they have an app that could be placed on a phone. I haven't yet tested this app. I'm about to. I just got a second phone, and I want to read the EULA and to see. I'm just going to do a little bit more investigation behind that. So that's that part. In return, yes, he hit the Jeffrey files really hard, and he came down hard. He came down a lot harder, and with some very colorful language. So glad he's back. Only Ian can do that. And he is a killer. In a good term, in a method. When I say that he does his show very well, that's what that means there. Stated that Barron is rolling super hard, and it looks like he is number 2 as far as podcasts go, behind Candace. Now that is something I didn't know, and that is fantastic. So bravo to him. I think I've just gone through a lot of things. I also want to shout out Allie Top Files. She is the greatest of all time. She's one of the best investigators I've seen. She does not let anything go. Now, speaking of which, there's a video that we've all seen, and I brought it up during a certain show, and I'm not going to talk about who it was, but this is supposedly the person running across the roof of the building at the university where Charlie was unalived, and we've all seen him when this person jumps down and he jumps off the top of the building, which every time he does that, he hurts my knees. My knees are like shot. But if you really watch it towards, after he jumps down and starts walking forward, there's a couple of vehicles that roll out. Now I'm wondering, how come nobody is questioning a person jumping off the side of a building, all right, jumping off of a roof of a building, And maybe they didn't see them because he was in a car. Okay, great. There's an Easy Go, and I believe that's what it's called. It's one of those little, I don't know, small horse-powered vehicles that drive around a campus, and like a maintenance vehicle. There's a maintenance vehicle that comes out of nowhere. Usually, these are maintenance people that drive these cars on college campuses. That at least they did at my school, and I would bet bottom dollar that they would have been able to see somebody jumping off of that building, because the way this vehicle comes out, the way it turns, they could not have missed this individual being there. Right. So I find that really unusual. And then the two cars, the red car, the white car, and this Easy Go, all make a right when this other person supposedly walks across the street. Um, I've been told that that's not a surveillance camera. Yes, it is a surveillance camera. Okay, it's not moving at all. There's no jitter. There's no waving. It does zoom in, which is really unusual, unless that was done by an organization. It very well could have been, or maybe that's just how the video goes. Maybe it's saw movement. A lot of my cameras will lock onto an individual as well if it sees movement, and it will track them. Just my point. And if you kind of wonder, just take a look at that exit video. It is very interesting, and look for a little. It's got a white top and it's a green. It's a green truck. Okay. Also on Ian's show, Ian shouted out, "Silence is complicity," and I went out to their site. It is a small site, not small compared to mine, but it's a young lady who is just shoving her toe in the water and making waves, and she gave me some encouragement, as did Danks. So again, that's why I'm making a video at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not going to edit this. I'm just going to put it out. So you get my sneezes, you get my coughs. My apologies. Excuse me. I beg your pardon. You'll also see me turn my head because I've got AXN News over there live in Los Angeles. I'm kind of wondering what's going on because I see them running. Okay, last. Um, I'm rebuilding my studio. Some of you all might have seen I've got just crazy amounts of monitors and things. I decided to change things up, and why I decided to do that is for greater visibility across this way instead of vertically. I don't know what I was thinking, because I forgot how heavy a 65-inch monitor is. Oh my God. But I got it done. And then to remount them, I had to wait for some assistance. And I'm so glad that my son was able to help me there. What was I thinking was what I wrote down here. To leave on an up note. Let's see. So I covered her. Make sure you please do check out Danks as well. Danks is killing. Alley Files is killing. And then also this young lady, Silence is Complicity. That's awesome. And I wanted to leave on a high note, on something funny. At the parodies, they're memes. It's AD Fleet, FLEET. I don't know if it's a him or her. They make some of the funniest videos I have seen. There's quite a few. There's one that's a Scooby Doo. I enjoyed that one. But the one with Ian Carroll and Wolves of Finance, or Wolves and Finance, I don't know why it tickles me so much. Ian is like a little elf on Wolves of Finance as he stands there in his gray suit with his white shirt and black tie, and he just goes off. You have to watch it. If you haven't seen it, go find it. It is hilarious. And with that ends the the weekly wrap up from Ivan is Ivan late night. So thank you for allowing me to barge into your evening or your morning or whatever. I'm putting in some reps. I want to put in the work that I've seen so many other great podcasters are doing. And I think I've got something to contribute. My next video I've already started. It's going to be a little bit more Baron-esque, where I have a soliloquy I've been working on for quite some time. And hopefully it's entertaining. Danks has already touched on a lot of what I want to speak about, but it's the surveillance state and Mr. Larry Ellison. It is, I think, something worthwhile. So thank you for your time. And as Barron would say, remember Jesus loves you. And my tagline is going to be, please be careful what you click on, because it just doesn't go away. And that's how phones and computers get infected. And most important, don't click on shit. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.